Previously on Across the Chicken Line.
Alright guys, we need to work out something crazy for Duffy and for Craig to do because they are crazy boys.
Alright, so we've just arrived at Westfield and we're about to speak to Beth on the phone to hear what we've been challenged with.
Okay,
Nice.
By someone's order at Gloria Jean's. We can do that.
Oh, was either bake a cake or buy a cake
Buy a cake, yeah?
and give it to a non-Christian neighbour or friend.
Nice.
Okay. All right, here we go, church. Why do we keep doing this to ourselves?
Well, here we are.
Okay.
Alright, so we are ready to cross the chicken line. I'm going to ring Cam, our chicken line council representative, and see what he's got to say. Hey Cam. Thanks, we're pretty pumped today actually. Ready to get out there.
Very pumped. Okay, so lay it on us. What do you got for us this week?
So Ian went to a restaurant and he felt like he had to pay for someone's food. So,
Nice, okay.
so that's the first one, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other one was paying for someone's fuel at a servo. So we're hoping to actually see you guys take a little bit more risk. That's
Okay.
what we're actually thinking that if you set up a camera, like somewhere in front of Coles or somewhere, and then just ask people, just approach people, would you like to be a part of our experiment? We're just trying something here. You know, so you draw a square in the ground, get someone to actually stand in the square, take a little bit of risk themselves, and yeah, so and they get healed in the process. So,
Right. And we're actually going to step into all of this because God loves people so much. We really do know that He's got encounters for them today, and so whatever fears we need to overcome, it's actually about making room for God to meet with people.
And as way out as these sound, and they do sound rather way out, God's love can be in amongst all of it.
Yeah,
And,
that's it.
you know, you're right, we just need to get over ourselves. So enjoy watching us do that.
Alright, so today we had a lot of fun crossing the chicken line a whole bunch of different ways. I must say we're honestly surprised when Cam threw that one at us about getting someone to stand in a square and all that kind of thing, but we thought it's in the risk. So off we went. It was a really great experience to be able to be at the service station. The lady said to me, "Are you going to be here later on today?" Because I think she was regretting only putting $10 of petrol into her car, but anyway. The guy at the end, the last guy that I paid for, was really appreciative. He said thank you about half a dozen times, and said, I think this is about the kindest thing that has ever happened to me. Later on, when I was riding my bike back here, I felt like God say, you've just sown a seed for his salvation.
So we went up to Banks with the mission of paying for somebody's lunch. Similar to paying for someone's coffee last week, it was quite easy. It was kind of fairly natural. And so as I went up to pay for that, the two guys that I paid for were kind of blown away. And then they asked me, so what do you do? And I was able to share with them where I worked and what we were doing. And they were really blessed by that. In fact, they were two believers, so they said to me, oh, we've got to pass this on. We've got to do this ourselves. So to be able to inspire someone else through stepping over the chicken line, for them to take the concept and apply it to their own life, was pretty powerful.
It really was a way to bring all my fears to the surface, going out to the shopping centre and drawing the square onto the side of the road. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of all kinds of things running up to the surface, but realizing that they are just the things that are in the way of a God encounter, an experience of God's love for people.
We came up with this elaborate, we're doing an experiment, would you be part of our spiritual experiment? And it just didn't kind of have any traction.
And so nothing had been happening. I'm sure we were there for about 5 hours, probably only 30 minutes, but we'd asked a whole bunch of people, nothing had happened. So we thought, well, nothing to lose. What about if we just are upfront about what we're here for? So approached some people, we're Christians and we're wanting to do an experiment about how people meet with God. It's amazing how God showed up. And so Duffy was praying for someone on camera and another lady came along, and so I drew another square next to it, and this lady stepped into it and she said, she stood there and she said, yes, I feel something. I said, what do you feel? She said, I feel something like numbness in my hands and kind of running up here. I said, that's a similar thing that I experienced when I experienced the love of God. I said, have you ever experienced God before? She said, oh no. She said, I pray, but I haven't experienced God. I said, well then I think today is your first day, and off she went.
So I had one particular guy come up and I started talking to him and asked would he be willing to stand in the box and experience the love of God. He stood there and I asked, do you feel any different? And he said no. And then I had a word of knowledge around healing, and I asked him, does he have any pain or illness in his body? And he said that he has a situation with his chest that has developed over many years as a result of him smoking. It wasn't cancer or anything, but it was inflammation within his chest. So I asked him whether I could pray for him, which he accepted. So I laid hands on him and I prayed for him. When I finished praying, I asked him, do you feel any different? And he says, I feel happy. I feel happy that I've met you and I've had this experience. And I said, well, that's awesome. How do you feel in your body right now? Do you feel any different? He said, I don't, but I'm coming back this way in a couple of minutes. I'll let you know how I go when I walk up the street and walk back. So a few minutes later, he comes bolting past. I said, how are you going now? He says, I feel much better. Thanks very much. And walks off. So we were pretty pumped that had happened and he'd felt a change in his world.
And one of the things I'm learning is about not having to have a religious agenda behind things, but it's just actually sharing the loving kindness of God. So that was a great experience.
So that's it for this week, guys. Make sure you like the Across the Chicken Line Facebook page, where you can post your challenges for Craig and I. Make sure you take the time to think about it and put them up there. Make it hard for the Chicken Council to choose between all of your different challenges, and make sure you give it a go yourself. It's really not that hard to pay for someone's coffee, pay for someone's lunch, and engage in a conversation. We look forward to seeing you next week.